How you doing, everyone? This is Flex1296 here, and today I'm bringing you an episode of Footie Talk. This is going to be about the transfer window. It has been and it has gone this summer, and there's been a lot of money spent, and that was a very big understatement there. Probably been the craziest transfer window yet. Particularly, there's been a lot of money being thrown around. Some of it has been well spent, some of it hasn't been well spent, but today I'm focusing on the Premier League. Talking about this will be split into, I'm going to say about 4 parts. I could be wrong, but I'm going to say 4 parts. And the order of the teams that I choose will be completely random, or just in any order I decide to see fit. There's only one place to start, I feel, and that is with Manchester United. They were the biggest spenders in the summer. But they spent their money, I believe, wisely. First, they signed Eric Bailly, a centre back, which they did need a centre back. I think, to be fair, I think they had a lot of injury problems. Centre back, they definitely did need one. Probably not many people's first choice, but he seems to have taken to the Premier League really well. Then they went on to sign players like Footie from Borussia Dortmund. A good signing. You did need an attacking midfielder. Was he probably the perfect signing? Maybe not again, but again, if there's anyone that can get the best out of him, it's definitely going to be Mourinho. You signed Ibrahimovic on for a free transfer. That is definitely not bad, to say the least. I'm not gonna lie, I honestly did think that he would not take to the Premier League as well as he has done. I personally thought we had a Falcao on our hands, in which he would achieve greatness in every other league that he's been in, but come to the Premier League and underestimate just how difficult that league was. And then, of course, the Pogba saga. Them two, Pogba and Ibrahimovic, seem to have taken very well to the league. They seem to have grown a promising partnership as far as my United fan is concerned. It's definitely something, if you're a United fan, to look forward to, and something that could be feared amongst other teams. It is. But of course, this is only just the beginning of Ibra's United career and the re-beginning, the second coming of Pogba's United career. So, and as we know, Di Maria had a promising start to his United career, and look where that ended. So I'm just saying, don't get too ahead of yourself, because it can all turn pear-shaped. I don't think it will personally, unfortunately, because obviously I'm not the greatest fan of United, because I'm a Liverpool fan, but you know, I can hope. I can only hope. But you did do some good business, to be fair, and pains me to say it, but you did. As far as outgoings, there wasn't really much outgoings. You got rid of Paddy Manere, you got rid of Keane, Januzaj and Powell as well. Some players that probably were never going to really fit under Mourinho's new era. I was a little bit surprised that there weren't more outgoings. I honestly did believe, along with probably many people, that Fellaini and Mata would definitely be heading out the door. That hasn't happened yet. Of course, that could happen in, say, January or something. Mkhitaryan hasn't really figured much in the starting lineup yet. I don't know whether that's due to fitness or just that he's not ready at the moment. But I would assume that Mkhitaryan would take the place of Mata when whatever happens with him. But yeah, it was good business, definitely good business by United, as much as it pains me to say. Whether it will last or not remains to be seen. And there was definitely a surprise with outgoings. There wasn't just as many as I thought. But moving on across to Man United's noisy neighbours, the Eastern City. City again, they're under a sort of redevelopment under their new manager Pep Guardiola. The biggest signing, of course, the £50 million John Stones from Everton. Good signing for Guardiola. He seems to be a Guardiola type defender. So that's good, and it will only increase his development, especially when you consider that he's playing alongside some really great defenders such as Vincent Kompany. So it will help his development for England, which is only a good thing. They also signed Nolito, Sane and Gundogan, who won't be able to play until, I believe, after the new year. All great signings. They're all obviously part of Guardiola's long-term plan, which is good that they're finally buying players for the future. Because they just seem to be buying players that were in their prime at the moment, but at least they've got some sort of long-term sort of plan there. Outgoings, many on loan, mainly Hart, which was, after like the first few games, was not really a surprise, because we all knew that he wanted first-team football. He wasn't going to get that there because he's not the typical Guardiola kind of goalkeeper. Mangala, again, another defender, really expensive defender when he came to this country. Never quite grasped, I don't think, the Premier League. He was, I don't really know. It was just sort of like the way he played. He wasn't used to it, I don't think. Wilfried Bony on loan to Stoke, a great signing for Stoke. I'll get onto that when I talk about Stoke. And Samir Nasri, who goes on loan, but I don't think we'll ever see him back in a Manchester City shirt following his loan. I don't think. Could be wrong, but I don't see it personally. But yeah, City have done really well. They've kept some of their main players. They've bought and they've strengthened in areas that needed to be strengthened. Defending wise, they still seem a little bit fragile, especially when Vincent Kompany isn't there. And John Stones isn't exactly a reliable defender yet. So it'll be interesting to see how they continue against some of the bigger teams, especially when Kompany isn't in the team. But I do think that they have strengthened well, and Guardiola seems to have got Sterling back to playing how he used to at Liverpool after a kind of a shaky start, shall we say, to his City career. So it's only looking up for City, and we just have to see how they do against some of their title rivals. Next, we go to the champions, the defending champions, the unlikely defending champions in Leicester City. Big loss, a massive loss in losing Kante to Chelsea. There's a huge loss. I mean, I didn't understand the deal when it happened. I mean, obviously I would expect Chelsea to get back into the top four again this year, but when you're playing for Leicester and you've just won the Premier League and you've got into Champions League football, I don't understand why you'd move to a team that currently hasn't got Champions League football. It seemed a little bit of a strange decision to me, especially when if you can possibly recreate that form of last season, you can obviously just go again on the next season. It just seemed a little bit strange that he would go. But a major loss. But they have spent, well, I'd say Musa and the player that they got on, that they signed for the record transfer, both seem very good signings. I don't know too much about the record deal that they signed yesterday on deadline day, but if anything, Leicester proved last year that you don't need to buy talent that's already at its peak. They proved that you can easily find a gem for little money and go on to make him even better, and you can go on to create a team around him or them of players that are capable of winning the Premier League. And that's what they did. They bought Kante for like 7 million, they sold him for 30 something million, I believe it was 32 million, I could be wrong on that, but that's what they did last season, and that's what I firmly believe can happen throughout. I believe all teams should probably take note of that, and they don't need to do what United did and spend 89 million on Pogba only for him to maybe not turn out to be worth that amount of money, or even worse. So they definitely take. So I'm not obviously stating United for spending that money. They feel they need to spend it, then spend it. But I'm just saying that sometimes you can find a gem of a player in a not well-known player and go on to make him incredibly talented. You look at West Ham with Payet. Payet worth 10 million. He can easily go for double or even triple that now in today's market. So don't always need to find the hot players. You can always find the hidden gems of the players, so to speak. But it's not just the signings that Leicester have made that have made it a successful summer for them. They've also managed to keep Mahrez and Vardy, two of the main, and also Danny Drinkwater as well. They were three of the main players of last season that really drove them to that title win. So it's when you look at transfers, it's not just that. It's not just buying some of the best players. It's also keeping your best players, and Leicester have achieved that greatly. Yes, they did lose Kante, but he's not going to be easily replaced. Definitely, don't get me wrong. But I think out of the 4 players that you didn't want to lose, only losing one of them players is still sort of a good result, I guess. Well, they won't go on. I don't think they'll go on to retain their title this season. I think that there's too many stronger teams this year around them for them to retain. But they do have Champions League football, so that's a good bonus. And if they can remain in the top 4, again, unlikely, but if they can do it, I would consider that for Leicester to be a successful season. Next, we move on to Arsenal. It's always the same with Arsenal, I feel, every single transfer window, in the summer particularly. They always start off by signing someone good. They always start off by signing someone they definitely need. This year, it was Xhaka. They definitely needed a player like Xhaka, someone who's a complete central midfielder. He likes to get hold of the ball. He likes to play the ball around. But not only that, he also likes to put a tackle in. And that is what Arsenal have been needing for many years now. They just needed someone in that midfield that doesn't mind to put in a tackle or two, and they have that now in Xhaka, in Granit Xhaka. The only thing then is you need to kind of build on that. Last year they got Czech. They needed a quality goalkeeper. They got it in Czech. Did they expand on it? Did they continue to build on it? No, they didn't. Instead, what they decided to do was just sit back and only sign 1 or 2 very young players, I think, and then just not the players that they needed, basically. But this year they signed Xhaka, good signing, what they needed. Then they needed to build on it. They needed a winger, and they needed a striker, and they needed a centre back, a decent centre back. Not like they got Holding, they got Rob Holding, but he's a young centre back. He's one for the future, definitely. But they just needed that centre back that just had plenty of quality to him, and they didn't get it until the final couple of days, where they got Mustafi and Perez. Were they probably names that Arsenal fans were hoping? Probably not, because seemingly every single transfer window, Arsenal are linked with basically every single world-class kind of player in any particular area, and they end up not getting what they want, basically, and it's sort of frustrating. But and I don't know, because before they signed the two players on the final couple of days of the transfer window, I was out here and I was thinking, this isn't good for Arsenal. You see players that haven't got Champions League football, like Man United, and they're spending huge money on big signings to get them back to where they want to be. Arsenal are already there where Man United want to be, into the Champions League, and they're not getting the signings that United are getting because they're not willing to put the money on the table. And I was thinking just like, what if Arsenal don't get into the Champions League the next season? What if they don't? In my opinion, I don't think they will. But I'm just saying, what if that is to happen? How are they going to attract good signings if they don't have Champions League football? If they're not willing to put the money on the table to back it up? They've been in need of a world-class striker for many a season now. They still have not managed to replace the likes of Van Persie. So they definitely have needed a striker. Is Perez going to be that striker to get them the 20 goals a season that they need? Probably not, but Giroud definitely isn't either. Giroud definitely is not going to get you 20 goals a season. He'll get you 15 tops, maybe. Because when Giroud's on form, he actually can be a pretty good striker. As much as you may laugh at me for saying that, he actually can be a pretty good striker when he's on form. Problem is, when Giroud's off form, he's really bad. And it's sort of annoying Arsenal. It does definitely annoy, but it's the truth. And Wenger needed to realise that. And maybe he hasn't. I don't know much about this Perez guy, but I can only assume that Wenger does have a plan, and that Arsenal fans should just go with it for this season at least, because if things turn out bad this season, then I can't see him being given a new contract. So you think for Arsenal fans, you're just going to have to put up for it for another season? Maybe horrible, it may not be. Only time will tell. And finally, for this part of the episode, Liverpool, my team. I wouldn't say it's been a terrible window. I've actually sort of been surprised, I guess. I think I've mainly been surprised with how well we've done at getting rid of players, which has been surprising because usually when we try and get rid of players, we sell them for a major cut of how much we bought them for in the first place. I was very surprised when Palace bought Benteke for practically the same amount of money we bought him for. I was expecting us to get probably 20 million, maybe tops. Maybe that might have even been over ambitious. I wasn't expecting to get basically the 32 and whatever million back. It was definitely surprising to me. But it was good business from Liverpool, I must say. It was definitely good business to get that money back, and we've actually sold a few young players that have actually gone for decent amounts of money. Very surprising, because usually, again, we sell them for a cut of their price. I mean, we sold Jordan Ibe for 15 million. We sold Joe Allen for around about 14 million, I believe. These players probably in the past would have gone for single-digit millions. So it definitely hasn't been a bad kind of window in that respect. We've actually, I believe, we've actually sold more than what we spent. We've actually gained more than what we spent, and we've actually spent just under 70 million, I believe, something around about them lines. So yeah, it's definitely been a successful window in that respect. Have they been players that we've spent wisely? I would say so. I would say definitely that these are players that we've needed for a while. Mane in particular. Did I believe the fee was worth it? Probably not. But from the way he started, he's definitely proving me wrong anyway. His pace is something that we've needed for a long time. And so far he seems to be working out really well. We got two goalkeepers. Unfortunately, Karius got injured before the start of the season, so we haven't seen him yet. But I'm looking forward to seeing how he does. The other goalkeeper, not heard of, not 100% sure about him yet. Matip, he also seemed, I mean, I've only seen him twice in England, but again, he does seem a typical kind of player that can play out from the back, and he seems to have got a bit of pace going forward to maybe even run out from the back at times, so he seems to be a typical kind of Klopp defender. And obviously, again, going back to the selling, Balotelli has gone as well, so that was a great signing. Did we probably need a striker? Maybe. I'm still not fully convinced on the injury problems of Daniel Sturridge. Danny Ings is bad, which is good, I guess, but I'm not 100% sure. And if Origi can recreate the form that he showed at the end of last season before getting injured, then I would say that they have got an exciting striker in Origi on our hands. But that's not obviously the area that 100% needed to be filled or needed to be strengthened. The one area that I continue to moan about, and I think a lot of Liverpool fans as well, is left back. The left back situation at Liverpool it's been ridiculous or I would say all summer, but it was also ridiculous for the end part of last season as well. Moreno is a left winger playing left back. He's not he just hasn't got a defensive bone in his body, I don't think. He's always looking to get up front and always looking to get amongst the assists or amongst the goals. He's just always looking to start an attack, and it just leaves his defensive vulnerabilities open to attack from other teams, from the opposition. It's frustrating, really, because it's frustrating because Klopp hasn't done anything about this. The only thing he's done is basically suggest that James Milner can play as left back, which, all right. I admire Milner for taking one for the team, and I admire him for sacrificing his natural position in order to play. But for me personally, we're Liverpool, and if we don't have anything to go on for a left back, what are we doing? What were we doing in order to not get a left back? It surprises me that that our weakest point of the whole team, the point that's basically going to be what teams are going to target every single game, the point that we're going to continuously concede goals from, the area of the team, and we're not doing anything about it, and it just baffles me that we haven't signed a left back, we haven't signed anything like that. And to make matters worse, John Flanagan, who played left back a couple of seasons ago before he got a horrible injury. He can play left back. Alright, he's not a natural left back by any means, but he could still play left back. And they decided to send him out on loan to Burnley, which again is really confusing considering that he is a guy that can play left back. And we're struggling for left backs. I just didn't get that move. I didn't get that move at all. But having said that, I can't complain too much about Liverpool's transfer policy this summer. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how these young talents develop, grow, and gel in with the team that was already there from last season. I'd love to hear your comments on these 5 teams. I'd love to hear what you think. If you think I was right, if you think I was wrong, did I make any points even? Probably not. I'm not 100% sure I did. But yeah, so that's been part 1. Part 2, 3 and 4 coming up soon. So yeah, thanks guys for listening. As always, feedback greatly appreciated, along with your thoughts, opinions, comments, whatever. And I guess I'll see you next time. Bye guys.